When Samuel Johnson said, "A man will turn over half a library to make one book," he didn't mean to include everything in your story. Few things bring a passage to a screeching halt like the info dump. For example, Dara affixed the Nikon AFS Nikkor 200 to 500mm f5.6e EDVR lens to her Nikon D6 DSLR camera. With a steady hand, despite the silent wave motor and vibration reduction image stabilization, she finally photographed the pileated woodpecker. Unless any of that actually matters to the story, just say Dara used a long lens to photograph the pileated woodpecker. You'll not only spare your readers, but you won't attract the attention of the people who know more than you, who are out there just waiting to tell you how wrong you are. But I understand the urge to show off what we learn as writers. You sink all that time into learning something for a story, and it's only natural you want to include as much as you can to prove you did your work. But the work that really matters is not losing readers. None of this is to say that research isn't necessary and that we need to leave all kinds of specific details out of stories. What's important is deciding which details to include and which to leave out. I recently wrote and recorded a story set in Sweden for my fiction podcast, Not About Lumberjacks. Because I've never been to Sweden, research was necessary. And while I'm never one to fall into the trap of doing research instead of writing, I always do more research than is necessary. Why? Because even the things I leave out help inform me about the sense of place and what a character might be experiencing. It informs the mood of the story and gives me confidence to keep going. But I'll still argue that much of what we leave out is still better than what a lot of people want to include in a story. Here's an example from my most recent story, The Song of the Stone. It's a tale told through time about two people drawn to a specific place during turning points in their lives. The main character, Xander, is an American working in Stockholm for a year. After visiting the Viking Museum on Björka, he decides to go to a spot that he saw across the lake. That bit and what follows is the important thing, not a detailed blow-by-blow of how he gets there. So, in the story, 2 sentences take care of everything that's needed. I wanted to see what was south of Björka, so I doubled back after leaving the island. A couple ferry rides got me to where I wanted to go. But don't think for a moment that I didn't research all those ferries and their schedules and how Xander would get there. And don't think I didn't want to show off all I had learned. But it would have ruined the flow of importance if I had instead written butchered Swedish in 3, 2, 1. I caught a boat ride from Björka back to the Lindby jetty on Odelsa. After hopping into my IMO car share, I passed Hovgården on my way to the Odelsa to Munsa Färjelaga. After the crossing, I took a Kärrjevagen south to Brigavagen, where I caught the Jungfrusund Färjelaga from Akera to Slagsta. Then it was E20 to Södertälje, where I finally made my way back north on an Harnalianden to the southern shoreline of Lake Mälaren. But all that research was not for naught. It gave me a better sense of the area and what Xander might have felt while driving along. It got me to areas that I did include, things that I learned from my research. And it personally gave me a better sense of life west of Stockholm. Should I ever decide to set another story there, I'm already ahead in my area knowledge. Unless you research as an excuse not to be writing, I don't think you can ever research enough. Just be sure that you sound natural in your words, and don't become that person who shows how much they did behind the scenes. Hey, if you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up or checked out a story at nolumberjacks.com. And if you're curious how I write stories and put episodes together, I have an entire playlist right here.